So today's workshop is preparing your internship application. So what we're going to look at today is the best way to write your resume and sort of tips on how to make it stand out, and also things to avoid and not to do, as well as the accompanying expression of interest, which will go alongside each of the applications to your host organizations. Another date to put in your diary, which has now been confirmed, is the interview skills workshop, which is on Friday the 18th, which is the week 11, so almost Christmas. And that one will be face-to-face. It'll be a longer session in the innovation space, and we'll actually be inviting a couple of employers to come and talk. So it's a great opportunity to ask questions to some organizations that may or may not be your host and may or may not have hosted before, and what they sort of look for in the applications and what they look for with the internships. But that one, just to let you know, is that's open to all of Keck students, whether you're taking part in the engineering internship or the computing internship. So in this workshop, we're going to be looking at resumes and expression of interest, about a little bit about how to present your skills and experience. Sorry, this is got engineering on, but it is actually computing. Apologies for that typo. Where to look for your internship opportunities, and also tailoring your resume. So we'll just start with some information on where to find the eligibility requirements for this internship. I'm hoping that you'll all be familiar with these blue boxes by now, but if you're not, please follow this link, which will take you to the Keck website. And it's under student employability, internships, and computing. This is the undergraduate eligibility criteria and the postgraduate eligibility criteria. So please just double check that you are eligible to partake in this internship. And there's also a link there for the application form to start your internship. So yeah, please go to the, for further information, please go to the Keck website on that. Just a couple of other things as well. There's the participation is 20 hours a week, and it's the Keck site will provide you all of the requirements that you need to know, and it's for 12 units of academic credit. There's a main round this year. Please check as well, because they've just changed the structure of the application process. There's a main round and then a supplementary round. But I think, Christy, please correct me if I'm wrong. You have to go into the main round before you accept it. Yes.
So the student will only be eligible to enter to supplementary round is the student who applied in the main round, and you being eligible, and also you not successful to secure an internship, and then we will send out the application link to the student. Yeah.
Okay. Great, thank you. If you have any other questions about this, though, you can email studentemployability.keck@anu.edu. And there's also another couple of links here, again, to the computing internship page, but also to student employability opportunities, where you can look for opportunities for your internship. And lastly, there's some criteria as well for bring your own requirements. But if you have any questions, please do direct them at Christy and the student employability team. And that can all be found on the computing internship page. Okay, so to get things started, and I'm hoping, how many have we got online? Got quite a few of you online. Do you think that you could all scan this QR code, please? And we're just going to do a quick Menti. I'm just going to change to Menti now. And once you've scanned the QR code, if you could just give me a little thumbs up, then I know that at least you have successfully got onto the page. Awesome. I just would like to start by asking, on a scale of 1 to 5, those of you who have joined us today, how confident are you in writing an internship application? So 0 being, 1 being not confident at all, and 5 being very confident. If you've missed the QR code, please just let me know in the chat, and I can get it up again. Awesome. Okay, so we've got quite a few 2s, so I'm not so confident. So hopefully by the end of this session, you'll be feeling a little bit more confident about writing your application. And I'm going to leave this on Menti open as I go through the presentation. You can write your questions in the chat, or you can write them anonymously through Menti. And if I don't get an opportunity to respond to them at the end, when I share the slides with Keck in Student Employability team, I always respond to all the questions. So they will be forwarded to every person who's joined this call today. Thank you for that. So just to address some common questions that I hear before we even get started, I'll just quickly answer these frequently asked questions, and hopefully they won't come up in this session. So how long should my resume be? The standard in Australia is 2 pages. You don't have to completely fill the 2 pages, but the expectation from employers is 2 pages. I know in a lot of other countries, they like to see it condensed into 1 page, but I feel for the sake of an internship and the information that they would like to see from you, we try and extend that to 2 pages. Should I include all my personal data or details? The answer to this is yes and no. I will go through the details that we expect to see on there, but also the details that we encourage you not to share on there. And it's not because we don't want to see your lovely photos or anything like that. It's just to protect you and to ensure that there are no unconscious biases from the employers based on your information. Do I need an objective, which is also called a personal objective, a career summary, an about you section? It's highly recommended unless you are told by the organization in the application that it's not required. I know there's a few organizations out there, and because they ask you selection criteria, they prefer that you don't include an objective. But for the most part, and from my experience for these internships, it's highly beneficial for you to include a little bit of an introduction about yourself, and we will touch on what to include in that later on in the presentation. Do I need to include ATAR or my GPA? It's a tough one. Like, you know, again, I normally say to students, you don't need to include that unless you're requested to, unless organizations want to see an academic statement. But then again, if you're extremely proud of your GPA, then why not? It's your resume, so you include that if you want to. But there's no right or wrong answer regarding your academic scores. Should I include my high school and subjects? Generally, you include your high school. You don't need to include your subjects because obviously university, whether it's your undergrad or your postgrad degree, will trump whatever you've done in high school. But it's recommended that you include your high school in there as your last, I suppose, academic pathway, just to show that you've been to high school, which obviously is assumed. What is a skills summary? So a skills summary is something that is highly beneficial to include in your resume. And again, we'll touch on what to write in a skills summary. And it's basically sort of a short section where you can highlight your key skills, whether they're technical skills or interpersonal skills. And especially for computing students, it's expected on your resume. And it's a very easy way to highlight or make yourself sort of stand out on what skills you have within the industry. Should I include all my past jobs, internships, and volunteering experience? Yes, it really is highly recommended you do so. The amount of detail that you include in these, though, is dependent on the relevance to the job you're applying for. So obviously for you guys, if you've got any experience in computing jobs, whether they're part-time, casual, consulting, or if you've done internships before, then sort of these are the things that the hosts of the organizations are going to be wanting to see. They will want to see that you've maybe got volunteering experience. They will potentially want to see if you've had part-time or casual jobs while you're studying, because they'll want to see these transferable skills. But the level of detail that you include on your resume will be a lot shorter and limited in comparison to the more relevant positions. Should I include hobbies and interests? This is one of those subjective ones. You can if you want. It's sort of like your GPA. If you want to include it, you can, but I don't recommend that you have a long, extensive section on there. These are things you can talk about in your interview, or things that you can talk about on your cover letter or your expression of interest if they are relevant to the position you're going for. But the host organization or the employer doesn't necessarily want to see that you enjoy knitting and cooking and that sort of thing. So you don't need to include all of those on there. And I have seen resumes that have got that on there. That's not just me making that up. Should I include awards and achievements? Absolutely. A lot of students that I talk to don't want to include these on there because they think that employers or organizations will think they are boasting. But, you know, this piece of paper that you're about to write all these things on is trying to show you in your best light and trying to show what type of person you are. And you should be proud of any awards or achievements or scholarships or anything like this that you've achieved thus far. So please do include them and make sure that you give some sort of short sentence explanation about what they are. Who should I list as my referee? So you're going to need, normally with them, the applications, Christy, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but with normal applications, you have to include 2 referees. And you want them to be able to be people who know you, who are able to speak to your skills and speak to your abilities. So, you know, asking your mom or your friend is not the best referee to choose. It would be like a supervisor or someone. Christy, did you just unmute yourself? Nope. And can I write referees provided on request? Yes, you definitely can. And especially if you are limited with space and you're trying to keep it to 2 pages, it's absolutely fine these days to write referees provided on request. And also another thing to keep in mind is that your resume will be distributed through various emails and printed off and put on various desks. So you don't necessarily want to have people's personal details on your resume, especially if they're confidential. So just you can maybe include names or you can just say that they're provided upon request. Okay, so let's get straight into writing a resume. So I wonder if anyone can put in the chat or take off your microphone if you're brave. What do you think the purpose of a resume is? Anybody? I'll give you a few seconds to have a think about it while I have some water. Ugh. Present yourself to an employer. Let an employer know you. Anyone else? To showcase who I am and what I can do. Absolutely. To get a chance of an interview. Yeah. Well, all of these are correct. But the simple answer to the purpose of a resume is basically to get you an interview. So yes, you are correct. That's it. But in doing so, you are trying to showcase yourself in the best light possible. So whenever you're writing something on your resume, I do this when I'm writing my own resume as well, which I update sort of every 6 months. When I'm trying to think, should I include this part on my resume? Just think, is it relevant? And also, is it going to get you an interview? Is it going to make you stand apart? Is it going to show the type of person that you are? So what to include on your resume. So this is really basic, and I'm going to go into depth on all of these sections. So obviously your name and contact details will go at the top. Employers are lazy. They don't want to look for these. So make it really, really easy to find and simple at the top. And please don't include your full address. That's data privacy, and you don't need to include that. You can just write ACT or New South Wales or the suburb or something. So you don't need to include your full address. But what you want is your name, you want a contact email, and you want a contact phone number so that they can contact you. Believe me, they don't want to be looking for this information hidden at the bottom of your resume. They want it at the top where they can see it. Next, you want your personal objective, which is also referred to your career objective, your career statement, your personal profile, your career summary, your about me. They are all the same thing. You can call it whatever you want, but it goes at the top, and it's the introduction to your resume and to yourself. Then you want to include your education, your qualifications in reverse chronological order. The reason that we recommend that you put this immediately after your personal objective is it's sort of a tick and flick exercise for the employer, that they're making sure that you have the correct qualifications that are required for the job. On the first page as well, we highly recommend you include your skills summary, because this is like a highlight reel of all your strengths, and especially for you guys who you want to be able to highlight which technical skills that you have. Also include some interpersonal skills, and we'll touch on those later. And for those of you that speak more than one language, please include this and the proficiency, because this is a skill. Being able to speak multiple languages, spoken languages, is a skill. You can also include projects and portfolios, especially if you have links to, like, Google or GitHub or something like that, where you can showcase some of your previous work. And when it comes to academic projects that you've done, that's fine, include it. It's still part of your experience, but just make sure that it's relevant. So if you're applying for something in AI and machine learning, try to highlight, projects that have covered that. Then you want to include your relevant work in history, which is your employment, your placement, your internships, all of this, and your other work history, which can also include part-time casual jobs and volunteer work. If any of you have done NU+, include that, or any other external volunteer work. Also to include your professional memberships. I highly encourage those of you who have not to get a student membership with ACS. It's not only a great opportunity to get some professional development, but it's also contacts in industry networking and lots of resources. And they also have a career hub on there, which is only available to members of the Australian Computing Society. So yeah, normally student memberships are either free or highly discounted. So please take advantage of that while you're students. Then also include any achievements, awards, scholarships, or publications. You can, if you prefer, link your scholarships in your education section, but otherwise you can have a section which is just dedicated to any achievements or awards. And yes, before anyone asks, you can include awards that you got in high school, but please just remember to ask yourself, is this relevant to what I am applying for now? And then any extracurricular activity or volunteer work. So that would include your societies, if you're members of societies, or if you're, head of any societies, or if you're in sports clubs, those sorts of things. That's where you would include that. And then making sure that you've got your referees ready as well. This is just a sample resume. We don't call this a template because I really encourage you not to use this as a template. It's really boring. It's designed that way on purpose. But if you're really struggling with understanding what to write under each section, you can visit the careers site. And this is a PDF copy of the ANU careers guide. And I believe this is on page 26, and there is a 2-page sample resume of how to write one. This is a template of a business and economics student, so yours will look a little bit different. You will have more emphasis on your technical skills, but it has sort of explanations, which I'm going to go through some other things in depth as well today on how to approach each of these sections. So please do take advantage of this. So what not to include on your resume. So there's a few things that we encourage you not to include. Your date of birth, they don't need to know how old you are. Your gender or sexual preference, again, it's not necessary information. It's not going to stop you from doing the job. Your marriage or relationship status, or if you have any dependents, any children. You don't need to include your race, religion, or ethnicity. Please don't include your full residential address. As I already mentioned, just your suburb and the state is fine. You don't need to include a photo unless, of course, you're an actress or a model. That's required, but not for a computing internship. And please try to avoid complicated or over colorful templates. That's not to say you can't use color on your templates, and not to say that you can't, purchase a template off Etsy or look on Canva or any of these sorts of things. That's fine. Just don't make them crazy in your face or overly colorful. The points before regarding your date of birth and your gender, etc. This is just to protect you from sort of discrimination or unconscious bias. The information is not necessary or required for you to do your job. So by not including it, you are not sort of allowing the organization or the employer to make any assumptions about you or to make any decisions based on these requirements. Anyway, so yeah, just some little tips on things not to include. Common mistakes we see all the time, and they can happen to everyone. So just make sure that you double check and you get people to check your email. To check your resume. Spelling and grammar errors, inconsistent fonts or bad formatting. The amount of times I see accidental font sizes or different fonts, and it's really, as soon as you see it, it's quite off-putting. Making things too wordy, or alternatively making things too brief. Not tailoring it to the job or the organization. So it's fine to have a master resume where you include everything, and this might be 3-4 pages long, but then when you're writing an application, you want to make sure that you're editing it and that you're reducing the information that you're including so that it's tailored to the application. Not including clear explanations, so you're leaving the reader with questions. I see this a lot with when people include their awards or like their volunteer experience. You tend to use a lot, include a lot of bullet points when it comes to work experience, but I'm always asking questions to students. Oh, what even is this award? Or what did you do during your volunteering? So make sure that you just include all the relevant information. Fancy gimmicks, including borders, highlighting, underlining, or lots of different fonts. Unprofessional email addresses. So in this instance, it's fine to use your ANU email, but just make sure that you're not using any an email address you might have like set up in high school, like sexybabe69 or something ridiculous like that. This is not professional, and you should have an email address that's either your ANU one or that is just your name. Make sure you don't put any overstated claims or bluffing in your resume, because if you do progress to the interview stage, they're going to ask you questions about it. And if you cannot talk to what you've written down on your resume, they will know you're lying and you probably won't get the job. And then incorrect contact details. This has happened to me. Just one of my children started typing on my laptop, and I think they deleted a couple of digits from my contact number. So I almost didn't get the job at ANU because of that. So just make sure that you get somebody to double check your resume, and you can also run it through AI as well to get feedback. It's pretty good for that, but don't make AI write it for you because it's obvious. Okay, so what is a personal objective? So this is around 3 or 4 sentences that is at the top of your resume, and it outlines your career goals and also aligns your skills and your personal values to the position that you're applying for. So this is that sort of section that we say about tailoring your resume to the position and just aligning it with what you consider to be your strengths, but also what values you sort of live by, work by. Generally, the advice is who are you, what have you done, and where are you going? So, outlining that you're an ANU computing student, maybe what have you done? It doesn't have an extensive answer yet because you're still a student, but you're going to write about your strengths and then where are you going? So perhaps you want to work in the renewable sector, or you have a keen interest in AI and machine learning. So this is where you can include things about the industry that you'd like to work in, or what your next career step is. So in this sense, you are applying for an internship to develop your skills in blah blah blah. And also, what do you have to offer Oh, apologies. What do you have to offer the organization, or why they should hire you? So yeah, strengths, really highlight what you consider your strengths to be. Sorry, I'm just muting my Teams. Really highlight what you consider your strengths to be and what skills that you have. But also, this is an internship, so they're going to be interested in why you want the internship and what you want to learn, because that's the whole point of an internship. Make sure that it's tailored to the role of the organization. So use something we call mirrored language, which you'll find in either on their website if you research them, or in the position description where they're outlining what the position is. Avoid using AI to write this. It's obvious, and I will give you an example of this as well. It should be personal to you, and it should be in your own language. And avoid common cliche phrases, so make it stand out and make it unique. This is an example of a personal objective. So a bad example would be seeking a job in robotics and AI where I can use my skills. Yeah. And a better example, and I'm only using the word better, I'm not saying that it's a great example. I've seen some fantastic computing students' personal objectives come through. So yeah, this is an average example. So an ANU computing student with a passion for robotics and artificial intelligence, seeking opportunities to apply technical skills in C++ and Python to contribute to innovative products in the field, eager to leverage academic knowledge and hands-on experience to make impactful contributions to cutting-edge technology in robotics and AI. Now, full disclosure here, ChatGPT did write this, and there's a few telltale signs here. So they love to say that you've got a passion for something, and they always always include that you want to leverage your academic knowledge with something. So I just want you to be aware that even using AI, there are some very telltale language, reflections from AI that organizations and sort of us as career consultants, because we see resumes coming through to us all the time. It's really obvious if you've used ChatGPT. So my advice to you would be use it, it's fine, but either use it as a starting point and edit it and make it personal to you, or write it yourself and then get AI to ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever you're using these days to do a review of it and to give you suggestions for improvements. I wonder if we can quickly go back to Menti. There's the QR code there again if you need it. Otherwise, you just go to menti.com and you put in the code. So I wonder if you could tell me what skills could you include in your skills summary for a oh, we've already got some questions. Fantastic. What skills could you include in your skills summary for a computing resume? There's no wrong answers here, guys, and I think it gives you an answer, an option to put like 3 or 4 in, but you can only put 1. And this can be anything that you consider to be a skill that's valuable to the computing industry. This could be a technical skill, it could be an interpersonal skill. So yeah, a couple of minutes, and if we could just brainstorm with the team. There's about 30 of you online, so it'd be really great if you could put some answers up there. Yeah, there we go. Fast learner, communication, leadership. Any more there, guys? I've only got 5 people on there contributing. This is a lot. It's beneficial to you if you take part in this, because ones that other people might put up are going to influence what you could include in your skill summary. So the more answers we get in this, the better. Want to learn some more communication, collaboration, plan a project, fast learner, collaboration. Yeah. A couple more minutes on this, guys, and then we're going to talk about what to include in your skill summary. Okay, cool. I'll leave that up there so you can add some more if you like, and I will be sharing the Menti results with everyone along with the slides. So how to write a skill summary. So you need to be prepared to talk about these if you're invited to an interview, because this is you basically saying, these are my top skills. So things that you can include. So I would start with your technical skills. You can just list these. So any coding languages that you, or programs and software that you are competent in. If you're not so confident in some, you can still include them, but you can indicate your level of proficiency, just like you would with a spoken language, I suppose. Any methodology you use, including kind of management software and project software and that sort of thing as well, and then your practical skills. Then we do also encourage you to include your interpersonal professional skills here. This can be your communication, your leadership, teamwork, these sorts of things. I would advise you to read and reread the position descriptions, because they normally outline a couple of soft skills that they would like to see from you. And it's good to mirror these from the job description. But if you are including interpersonal or professional skills, then please make sure that you include an example. There's an example on the ANU Careers Guide sample that outlines, I think it was teamwork or communication or something, and they use an example from their volunteer work because they used to have to give presentations, and so that's the sort of thing that you can do with that. And then, as I said, please include your spoken languages as well, and then indicate the proficiency. Is it basic? Is it proficient? Is it fluent? That sort of thing. This comes from the Jobs and Skills Australia, and it's part of the 2023 Nationals Career report. And I just would like to highlight that only 25% of employers that were asked said that technical skills were more important. So if you just sort of look at those percentages, Australian organizations really do value those professional skills, those soft skills, as well as the technical skills that you can take to an organization. And so if they have 2 students, this is just to give you a little bit of context, if they have 2 students that have got identical GPAs, they've got identical skills, they're probably doing the same they're probably doing the same degree and, you know, all the same subjects or something. So nothing technical there is making them stand apart. But if one of them has sort of developed their communication skills or has done extensive internships or volunteer works to try and, you know, improve their professional skills, then that is probably going to be the one that gets selected for the job. So you want to find this really cohesive balance between your soft skills and your technical skills, and don't just rely on the fact that you are an amazing coder or you're fantastic at Python or Java or whatever it is. This is from the same this is the World Economic Forum, Forum report. These were the top 10 skills identified by employers in 2023. I find this quite interesting because in 2023, technological literacy was at number 6. Number 1 and 2 were analytical and creative thinking, which, you know, I think all of you in computing have that type of thinking. It's your problem solving, being able to analyze things and also think creatively and innovatively. So these were their predictions of the most rapidly increasing skills between 2023 and 2027. Technological literacy has moved to number 3, whereas you can see creative and analytical thinking is still numbers 1 and 2. So let's move on now to your professional experience. This is always done in reverse chronological order, so the current position at the top. And employers want to know sort of what you learned from this position. Excuse me. The examples of where you applied this knowledge in the real world and what skills you sort of developed and what those transferable skills that you've taken from the role. These could be about communication. These could sort of working in a team and how you've learned how to communicate professionally, how written and oral skills, those sorts of things. Also about your administration and your teamwork. So describing your experience, there's some sort of bad and good examples on this page. So for instance, in one of your roles, you might have done data entry and analysis in Excel. A better way of writing this perhaps would be modeled 20 years of historical financial data in Excel to determine relationship between commodity prices and profitability. Or if you've got a casual job, in hospitality, you might just write waiting tables or working the bar and hosting tastings, but a better way to write this would be managed 150-person capacity bar requiring exceptional customer service, dispute resolution, and time management. So it's really, when you are including your casual skills or your part-time roles, it's really important to think about those transferable skills. So in this instance, customer service, dispute resolution, and time management are all transferable skills and highly sought after. Other experience to include would be formal education. Sorry, not other. Experience to include would be your formal education and other training. So for instance, if you've done food safety or first aid or something, so include that as well. Professional work experience, casual work experience, contracting, consultancy or freelance work. Any previous internships or placements you've done, extracurricular activities, including student societies or sports clubs, projects, volunteer work, and associated awards or achievements. Okay. So writing an expression of interest or an EOI. So what's the difference between an EOI and a cover letter? So this came from Indeed, but I haven't found a better definition since, even though it was from 2022. But it's an expression of interest like a cover letter accompanies your resume. However, an expression of interest is more general than a cover letter, and it focuses on your qualities and values. And it doesn't, rather than addressing specific criteria. So normally when you would be writing a job application, they would be outlining selection criteria for you to answer. These would be sort of a series of questions that that are valuable to the job. Whereas an expression of interest is normally sort of a short paragraph that accompanies it, which is kind of like an extensive personal objective. It's just sort of a short summary of yourself. You might want to concentrate on your skills, on your values, and also why you want the internship and what you're wanting to learn from it. So what's an expression of interest? I just sort of covered this, but it can sometimes be called an EOI or a statement. It's a written response that accompanies your resume. It's normally up to about 300 words. I think for most of the hosts at ANU, for the computing internship, it's about 350 words. And it relates to the job role in the organization. So it's referring to your values, skills, and interest in alignment to the position. And basically, it just gives a bit of a snapshot of your professional profile to potential employers and hosts. From my recollection from last year, again, Christy, please interrupt me if I'm incorrect. If you're applying to multiple positions with one host, you just include one EOI, but you would attach one expression of interest to each of the positions or each of the organizations that you are applying for. So my recommendation to you all would be to write like a master template, and then each time you write an application would be to tailor it to the organization and make it slightly more personalized. So just make sure though that you're researching the company. You need to understand the company that you are applying to. So what's their workplace culture? Do they have a mission statement or a philosophy? And what are their values? You can find all this sort of thing on their websites. Normally all organizations have an about you section, and they normally declare these in a report, a corporate report, or also just, they might have an about you section which outlines what their mission statement is and their core values. And also know what role you're applying for. So what skills are required for the role, what experience are they looking for, and what type of person do they want? So are you a good culture fit for that organization and for the position? Because it makes a difference. So the purpose of an EOI or a cover letter is basically to get you to the next stage. So employers would like to know, one, why do you want the internship? So ask yourself, how does this opportunity contribute to your career development? So it's not, I'm hoping that you're going to apply for things that are in line with your career choices, and not just to get the 12 units, not just to get the academic credit. So, and also being able to discuss this in an interview is probably, you're going to talk more passionately and more concisely about like why you actually want this opportunity with them, so long as it aligns with your interests. Do you actually want the internship? So are you motivated, and you can show an understanding for the role? So the more passionate you are and the more driven you are to get this position, the more likely you are to actually get it, because the organization will see that'll come across in your application, and then it will also come across in your interview, because you'll be more confident to speak about it. And also, do you fit with the organization's culture? So it's very important to make sure that you do understand what the values are of the organization, sort of what their mission statement is and what their company culture is, because then if you also agree with those values and you align yourself with that organizational philosophy, then again, it's a culture fit and you're more likely to get the role. So tips on how to get started with an EIO. So research the company. So that was more for a cover letter. If you're writing a letter, address the right person, but you don't need to address anyone with an expression of interest. Make sure you customize each EOI, sorry. Include all the necessary information that they're requesting of you. Write a solid opening paragraph, although just be cautious, you only get like 250 to 300 words. Detail your qualifications and work experience. Explain why you think that you would suit the role. Explain what you think you would gain from the internship. What do you want to learn? And explain what skills you can provide. What can you bring to the organization during this time? And then review it and edit. And then just a little side thing about how to make the most of your internships. So this opportunity will give you some industry insights, so into whichever industry you choose. It's the beginning of a professional network. So try and, whilst you're in your internship, try and make those connections with people around you and understand sort of a little bit about, I guess, the network that's within computing within Canberra, and how you could leverage that for your own benefits. So it might be that you connect with somebody that you could then call upon when you graduate to go into a role. It's going to give you that workplace experience. It's going to create a stronger resume, so more experience to include on your resume. Could be a stepping stone to employment. A lot of the time, paid internships actually lead into graduate programs, which then lead into employment if you do a good job. So just always have that in the back of your mind. And also it's a confidence booster because you're actually doing what you're studying and what you're training to do, but in the real world. Right, so last part then, so where to look for an internship. So you guys have got it pretty easy because all of the organizations, all of the hosts, they're going to be advertised through KEC. So I didn't include the opportunities, student opportunities link on here, but it is on a previous slide. But basically, if you go to the ANU College of Engineering, Computing and Cybernetics and you hover over research, you can go to student opportunities and you can get, there's all sorts of pathways from the student employability page.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So the computer internship opportunity will be under the School of Computing opportunity.
Oh, sorry.
Page. Yeah. So you guys will be able to find the link in the computer internship page. How to apply? There's a link to the computer internship opportunity page.
Oh, sorry, Christy. I'll update this slide then before I share it and
Thank
put
you,
the current
Lizzie.
one. No worries. Also, there's some key dates there, which again, you can find in student employability page. This is just a snapshot from there. So make sure that you're familiar with all the dates. And then if you are looking externally, there are a few things, but make sure that you are in discussion with Christy and the team regarding bringing your own, so bring your own project in. But you can also look through the ANU Careers job boards. You can look through Grad Connect and Prospel. And then there is also Seek, Indeed, LinkedIn Jobs, and Your Own Ethical Jobs. And if you are struggling to find somewhere, you can contact the ANU Central Careers team, and we can help you. We won't be able to. We're not here to find you an internship, because that's the whole point of this application process, is for you to actually practice getting real work experience. But we can certainly sort of point you in the right direction on where to look. Also consider, for those of you that have had jobs before or you've had internships before, just consider as well that there is a hidden job market. So you can also explore current or previous companies. You can reach out to existing companies, contacts that you may have in the industry. I encourage you to join networks and associations. So get on LinkedIn and the Australian Computing Society as well. And also there'll be pages that I can't see because I'm not a member on the ACS, which have got opportunities on as well. And use these alumni groups or professional associations, and connect with people that are relevant in your industry on LinkedIn. And then also you might find someone through industry events and career fairs. I know there's a STEM consulting networking coming up as well. So there's a few different opportunities on campus. For those of you who haven't, there's a link there to the Australian Computing Society. And I screenshotted this, and as you can see, there's a ACS career platform, so you may be able to find some opportunities on there. But just be aware that if you are bringing your own project, you do need to get permission, and it has to meet all the eligibility requirements for the student employability team. So you can't just identify one and assume that that's going to be accepted for your internship. So please make sure that you're in communication with them. I do Keck weekly drop-ins every Tuesday. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'm going to be there tomorrow though, only because there's been a bit of sickness in my household. I'm at home today, and I'm not sure if my kids are going to be well enough to go to school tomorrow. If I'm not available tomorrow though, you will be notified through the Keck team. And I believe there are some drop-ins at ANU Central Careers and Employability though, and they'll be quite happy to see you. It's the same premise, so just check Career Hub. But normally I will be at the CSIT building in the little meeting room next to the Keck Student Services, and I'm normally there every Tuesday from 2 till 4. And I'm happy for you to bring your laptops. I'm happy for you to bring a paper copy of your resume or whatever you need from me, and just come. And normally I sort of try and limit it to about 10-15 minutes per student, but I guess it sort of depends on your requirements and depends on how many people are wanting to see me. And we can talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be about the internship. If you've got an interview coming up, or you're needing a part-time job, or you're just struggling in on your next steps from graduating, I'm there to help you if you need. A few Keck workshops and events that are coming up. Obviously, today we've got our computing internship, resume writing, and expression of interest. I'm going to do in a couple of weeks, oh no, sorry, week 8 next week. I'm also going to do a finding work in Australia for international Keck students, just assisting you if you're trying to find a part-time job and you would like to know some information. Just bear in mind as well that that's the same week. In fact, it was intentional. That's the same week as the International Careers Fair, which is running from Tuesday to Thursday. So make sure that you check those events out on Career Hub as well, and you can register for all the individual sections. Some of them are virtual and some of them are face-to-face. Oh, I did include that on the chart here. Also, I don't think it's been advertised yet, but the 50/50 Women in STEM, there's another networking workshop coming up, which I'll also be attending. And yeah, it's always great to support your student societies, and the 50/50 Women are fantastic. And then in week 11, which has now been confirmed for Friday the 18th from 2 till 3:30, in-person event will be the interview skills for Keck internships, and that's engineering and computing. Right, just before we finish and I open for questions then, I would just like to go back to the Menti, and we're just going to have a little quiz, and it's nothing scary. I give a couple of minutes for you guys to QR code, and then give a little thumbs up when you get on. So which of these should you not include in your resume? Your date of birth, your full name, or your volunteer work? Brilliant. Thank you for those that are humoring me and taking part. And so far, we've got all correct answers. So when you're preparing your EOI or your cover letter, you should always research the company first. Is this true or false, or only for Australian companies? Right down, guys. So when is workshop 2 for interview skills? For those of you that put the 18th of September, I think there might have been there's a bit of a trick question there. It is in fact in October. So week 11 in October. And name one source. Oh, sorry, I haven't updated this. Name one source where you could search for an internship opportunity. For you guys, there should be one very, very Grad Connect. Yeah, there should be one very clear answer. Indeed. Seek. LinkedIn. I'm hoping someone's going to write Keck student opportunities in a second. And new careers, yep. Yep, these are all correct answers, guys, but please make sure that you double check the Keck student for computing internships, the student opportunities first, because all the hard work is done for you there. And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you in writing your internship application? Yay. We got a few more confident students after this, and that's my only aim for these seminars, is just to give you the information that you need and hopefully help you with writing your applications.